Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome back to Easy Mathematics. We've started with rigid motion. Today we'll look at the latter part in it, then we'll see how it is being done. Today we are going to talk about translation and scale factor. How to get the image of a translation vector and a scale factor. So let's look at the translation by a vector. If the point xy is translated by the vector AB, then image is given by the sum of the point and the vector. So if you have been given a point and you have been asked to calculate for the image with the scale factor, what you are going to do is sum the image and the scale factor. So the image is xy. So we are going to write the position vector of xy, which is in a vector form. Then we have AB as a vector. And when we're looking at vectors, we did addition and subtraction of vectors. So we are going to add x plus a, giving you x plus a, sorry. Then y plus b, giving you y plus b. So remember that these x, y, a, b are variables. We just have numbers that we are going to deal with. So the main idea is when you are translating a point by a vector, then you add the point to the vector. So let's take an example. Find the image of A, 2, 3 under translation vector -1, 2. So this is the point. And what are you finding? You are calculating for the image. And to calculate for the image, add the vector to the point, or add the vector to the position vector of the point. So if I want the image of A, which is A prime, then the A prime is equal to the point 2, 3. Its position vector is this, plus the vector. What is the vector? -1, 2. So putting this together is going to give me 2 plus -1. When negative and positive meet, it becomes negative. So 2 minus 1 is 1. Then I have 3 plus 2, which is 5. So this that is in a vector form, you just write it in a coordinate or in a point form. So the image of A, which is A prime or A complement, is 1, 5. You just write the answer in a point or in a coordinate form, because this is coordinate by just adding the point to the vector, and that is how you calculate for the position vectors. Good. Let's look at example 2. With the example 2, some questions, you will be given the vector and the image, then you'll be asked to find the object, and this one mostly comes in section A. Okay, mostly in section A. So it says find the point Q. If Q prime, that is the image of Q, 3, 4, is the image of Q under the translation vector 3, -4. Find the point Q. If Q prime 3, 4 is the image of P under the translation vector 3, -4. Now what do? We know that in calculating the image which is Q1 is equal to the object plus the vector. So this is the image, this is the object, and this is the vector. But in the question, we are calculating for what? For Q. We have the vector, we have the image. So let's make V the subject, the Q the subject here. We are going to get Q prime minus V is equal to Q. So I want Q. I know that the image is the point plus the vector. So if I'm finding the point, then I'll just make the point the subject. So what is the image? The image is 3, 4. Minus V. What is V? The vector 3, -4. So if I subtract 3 minus 3, I have 0. Then 4 minus negative 4 is 8. So Q is 0, 8, which is the object of the image 3, 4 when translated by the vector 3, negative 4. So this actually, you just have it in section A if you have to solve for even the vector or the point. But what we should know that to calculate for the image, you add the vector to the position vector of the point that you'll be given. And that is all about scale factor. That is why mostly I say rated motion is something that whenever we come across it at exams, we should just go for that question, get our 15, leave the exams poor. Let's look at the second one, which is the scale factor. If the point xy is enlarged by a scale factor k, scale factor is represented as k or is k as its variable. So if the point xy is enlarged by a scale factor k, the image is given by scale factor times object. So if I am finding the I'm finding the image of a given point, then it is the scale factor that I've been given times the object. So that is k, which is the scale factor, times the object. So we have k multiplying x, k multiplying y. So doing the multiplication, you are going to get kx, ky, which k, x, y are variables. So let's take an example for the scale factor and see how you find the image. Find the image of 2, negative 4 under an enlargement from the origin with scale factor negative 2. You are calculating for the image of this. And to calculate for the image, multiply the object by the scale factor. So in doing so, I am going to say scale factor k, which is negative 2 from the question, should multiply to negative 4. So if you do the multiplication, 2 negative 2, which is the scale factor, will multiply this. And the negative 2 will also multiply this. So you have negative 2 times 2, which is going to give you negative 4. Then you have negative 2 times negative 4, which is going to give you 8. Because negative times negative is positive. So the image of this is negative 4, 8. Always when you write your answer in a vector, just write it in a coordinate form, because we are dealing with point, not vectors. But the vectors are helping us to make the calculation easier. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how you perform the operation on scale factor k and translation vector. For the translation vector, we are just going to add the image to, we are going to add the object to the vector, to get the image. But with the scale factor, you multiply. Let's go to our graph and see how we are to answer questions on the graph when it comes to scale factor and translation by a vector. Thank you. Okay, so we have here question on translation and scale factor. So this question, we are having a scale factor question based on it and translation. So let's read. The question says, using a scale of 2 centimeters to 1 unit on each axis, draw on a graph sheet 2 perpendicular axes OX and OY. So we've talked about how to draw your axis and the intervals. So it says 2 centimeters to 1 unit. So we have the interval of what? Of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 1, negative 2. It says on this graph, mark the x-axis from negative 5 to 5. So on the x-axis, we have negative 5 to 5. On the y-axis, it says from negative 6 to 6. So negative 6 to 6. We've done 8. Then we have to plot the point. We've also looked at how to plot points when it comes to the graph book. So we have A, -1, 3. So we have A, -1 and a 3 here meeting here. We have B, 3, 2. B, we have 3, we have 2 meeting here. Then we have C, 2, 1. 2 and 1 meeting here. So we've plotted the point. So when it comes to solution, we have A to C, refer to graph. Now let's go to D. D says draw the image of the triangle ABC, which is ABC, under the translation vector 1, 1, such that A maps to A1, B maps to B1, and C maps to C1. So this triangle, we are coming to draw its image with a scale factor 1, 1. And what did we say? If you are calculating for scale factor, when you are using the scale factor and you want the image, add the point to the vector. So we have A mapping to A1, meaning A1 is the image of what? Of A. So to get A, I have to add the point A to the given vector. What is the point A? -1, 3. Plus the vector. What is the vector? From the question, 1, 1. So let's perform the operation. If you have 1 plus 1, -1, plus 1, your answer is going to give you 0. Because you owe 1, you have 1. After settling, you have 0. Then we have 3 plus 1, which is 4. So A1 in terms of coordinate is 0, 4. Then we do same for B. So B maps to B1. The coordinate of B is this. So for me to get B1, I have to add the coordinate 3, 2 to the position vector 1, 1. So let's do the addition. 3 plus 1 is 4. 2 plus 1 is 3. So we have the B1 as 4, 3. Then we have the next one, which is C maps to C1. For me to get C1, which is the image, I'm going to add the object to the vector. So the vector is 1, 1. So doing this addition, I am going to say 3, 2. Remember, don't do this when it is pure. So we have C1 as 3, 2 as C1. So this point that we have, A1, B1, C1, we are going to plot this on the graph. Because the question says draw the image of this. So A1, we have 0, 4. On the first value is X, as we said earlier. And the second value is Y. So on the X value, where is 0? This is 0. Then on the Y axis, locate 4. So you will notice that on the Y axis, we have 4 here. So the point 0, 4 will rest here. Then we have 4, 3. This is 4. And we have 3 here on the Y axis. 4, 3 meeting here. Then you have 3, 2. 3, 2 here. So you notice that this is A1. You write the coordinate 0, 4. This is B1. You write the coordinate, which is 4, which is 4, 3. Then this is C1. So you just write here C1, which is the same as this. So once you are done, you join the new point that you've plotted to form a triangle. Remember, I told you that we don't use pens for exam's sake. If in case we should make a mistake, you can't claim. So when you are doing it for exam purposes, please, I will advise you not to use the pen. Thank you very much. So this is the translation vector. So after adding the vector to the point, you just plot them. So I have the image of triangle ABC, which is this, being this. Now let's look at the C, the E, sorry. The E says, draw the image of the triangle ABC. Now we have two triangles here. This is triangle ABC. And this is triangle A1, B1, C1. So the question says, draw the image of the triangle ABC. So this is the triangle we are drawing its image again. But some question can say you should use the A1, B1, C1. But we are using ABC, which is this triangle. But this time, it is under an enlargement with scale factor -1 from O, which is the origin. Now, the scale factor, which is K, it can be negative, it can also be what? Positive. It can be fraction. We should know that. The interest, or what we should know, is that the scale factor is used to multiply the point. So here it says that A maps to A2. So if I want A2, then A2 is equal to the scale factor. What is the scale factor? -1. Should multiply the point A. What do I have for A? I have -1, 3. So if you multiply, -1 will multiply this, and this same -5 1 will multiply this. So negative times negative is positive. 1 times 1 is 1. And -1 times 3 is -3. So I have my A2 as 1, -3. And I go to the next one. This time B is mapping to B2. How will I get B2? B2 is equal to the scale factor times the object B. So the object B is 3, 2. Multiply will give you -3, -2. So I have B2 as -3, 2. Then finally, C maps to C2. I have C2 to be equal to the scale factor times the object. What is the object for C? 2, 1. Do the multiplication. You have -2, -1. So C2 is equal to -2, -1. Remember, you don't leave your answer in a vector form, but in a coordinate form, just as we are done here. So now that you have the A2, B2, and C2, we are going to plot this new point. So A2 is 1, -3. So the first value is the X. Where is the X? We have 1. Where is -3 on the Y? This is it. So where would the two meet? Somewhere here. Then you come here, B2. B2. This is B2, isn't it? So B2 is -3, -2. -3 on the X, -2 on the Y. It meets here. Then you have -2, -1. -2 for X, -1 for what? Y. It meets here. Then you label your point. A, 2, you write the coordinate. 1, -3. Then we have here B, 2, -3, -2. Then we have here C2, -2, -1. Most of the times, we don't want the vertices to be in the shape, so we write them outside. Now, when you are done, you join the points to form a triangle, which is going to give you triangle A2, B2, and C2. This is it. Now, in some question, after doing the enlargement, you may be asked to show the lines of enlargement. And whenever you are being asked to show the lines of enlargement, this is what you are going to do. Stand at A and rule a line from A to pass through the origin to the A2. Some question will say, show lines of transformation when it comes to the scale factor. If you are being asked to show lines of transformation, stand at A and rule a line. Make sure it passes through the origin. Why? Because when you read the question, it says that draw the image of the triangle ABC under the scale, under an enlargement with the scale factor -1 from the origin. So be at A and rule a line from A to A2. Make sure it passes through the origin. Straight line. Like this. That is if you are being asked to show lines of transformation. Then you stand at C. Then you rule from C to C2. It should pass through the origin because the enlargement with it is from the origin. Like this. That is if you are to show lines of what? Of transformation. Then this is B. You also do to what? To the B2, from B to B2. Then you draw the line like this. Please, you only show the lines if the question says show lines of transformation. If the question doesn't make it clear, doesn't state it for you, don't show the lines. And so this is how we draw for translation, and also we draw for enlargement. Good. So, by the grace of God, we've been able to conclude at least what we are to know when it comes to transformation and what all the examiners are expecting from us when it comes to transformation. We've talked about reflection, we've talked about rotation, we've also talked about translation and a scale factor. But there is something special when it comes to reflection which we've not talked about. We will talk about it before you write your final exams. Please don't forget, hit the subscription button so that anytime a video is uploaded, you will be educated. Someone will also be educated by sharing our videos, links to other people who also need to understand certain topics in mathematics. And please, well, we'll meet again, God willing, tomorrow and take a question that we can be given 2 or more transformation to do in one particular question. We'll look at it. The name is Christian. See you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.